Can you swim well? If you have learned the cycle, can you ride let's say I forgot the names of the cycles now. BSL SLR, BSA SLR, right? Then Hero cycle. Is it same or is it different? You have learned how to drive Maruti, Alto. Can you drive Benz?
Fundamentals.
Right. So get the essence of anything that they have learned. That's one of the ways in which your learning becomes easy and learning becomes fun. The moment you try to remember, it's a symptom that you don't know. It is not your capability. No, everybody has a capability. The right sequence and the right exposure is given, and they commit and they learn. It is not rocket science, and there is nothing. Right? If you come to AI, hardly there are about 6 algorithms. If you know 6 algorithms, it is like our ATCG chromosomal mapping. Only 4 genes are there. ATCG genes are nothing but proteins, right? But just one protein in a sequence somewhere out, the child is born with white hair, right? Already it is old, right? So some changes. So it means that only four proteins, right, which are carbon, nitrogen, and oxygen molecules, they make myriads of changes. So only 6 algorithms in AI. If you really know, really, I didn't mean that. Okay, you can call from scikit-learn, you can call no, essence, right? When somebody says biryani for me, I am looking at it is cooked rice, right? What extra is there? Biryani comes with some masala, palav comes with some other masala. In Kannada we have chitrana, that comes with some other masala. So all these things, if you look at it, they are all made up of some kind of ingredients, right? And some kind of rice which is cooked and mixed. The right chef, he knows how to mix the texture, how to give the aroma, how to cook it, how to make sure that it is palatable by the old people who cannot chew it, right? It is palatable by the people who are toxically intoxicated and still they cannot taste. But for them it should be a different food, right? He knows exactly how to cook. So all engineering for us is cooking. The moment we try to de-analogize, we say that no, it is not cooking, it's extraordinary. No, trust me, engineering is the easiest, science is difficult, history is the most difficult. Right? Gomila Thapar and Sulivela Chakravarti never agree on the same thing. Right? She is a leftist and he is a rightist. So they never agree on whether Tipu Sultan is right or wrong. Very difficult. Right? But let somebody says, I will take a burning candle and put it on your hand. If a steam burns your man, they say both of them agree it will burn. That repeatability is the essence. When it is prone for interpretation, smell it. Something is wrong. Engineering should not be interpretation. Business is interpretation. Right? The moment you go to business, it's like in one of the movies I saw, the scientist predicts that New York will submerge under the ice because of some ice age. It is day after or some movie, right? Day after tomorrow or something. In that movie, science predicts that it is likely to be submerged in ice, and everybody believes. Then he goes to the mayor and says, "This is what we have done." He's a politician. He says that you have done enough. Don't tell this to anybody. Rest of the things we will decide. He never tells people that it will be submerged. Right? He can defend it because I didn't want to create panic and all those things. For me, that is not the problem. As a leader, you should have seen at least how to save at least 50% of the New York citizens. You could not able to even plan that. Right? That's why I always felt the day I was enamored and attracted by AI, I felt AI is the solution. So for all problems, AI is the solution, including our behavior. Right? Everybody thinks that I must be disciplined. No, why you should be disciplined? You should enjoy your life. If you are disciplined and still inside, we feel that, hey, I have to go to office in the morning. It's not a good thing. So AI should do all those work.
Not the serious.
On the renting wala. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. So AI should be taught in every discipline. Now they are telling AI is only for computer science. Actually, it is something like always I ask, do you want competency or qualification? In India, it is qualification. Some PhD will decide. That's why I did PhD. Now nobody asks. So whatever I tell is the thing. If I am a diploma holder or if I am a BA graduate and if I tell the same thing, this is what he knows about. Recently there was a controversy about textbook. What he knows about, why should I know about education and all? I'm just talking about the fact. So none of the freedom fighters, only from Jhansi Lakshmibai onwards, we consider them as freedom fighters. Anybody before that are local kings. They should not be treated as freedom fighters. Irrespective of religion, right? Whether it is Hindu, Muslim, doesn't matter. They are not. But fact is not there. That's why we never like history. History will be written by winners. Losers will never have history. Their history is you're wrong. You're wrong. Right now, if Russia wins, Russia says Germany is wrong. I will not give you oil. It's all interpretation. Right? All business, everything is interpretation. But yeah, it is not. AI simply says it is emotionless. In fact, that's what we want. It must give me, okay, I want XYZ kind of things. AI should be protecting me. To reach that level, we have to do certain things. For that, first we have to deconstruct AI itself. So one part of deconstruction is, if I start from scratch, if I didn't have TensorFlow, if I didn't have scikit-learn, if I didn't have NumPy, if I didn't have pandas, what will I do? How do I do this? Can I do it by paper and pencil? Can I build my own pandas? I call it as my underscore pandas, my underscore NumPy, my underscore scikit-learn, my underscore TensorFlow. The moment you learn 10% of it, you know in and out of it. You need not have to relearn every framework every time. Right? Even today, I write Python programs or C programs because I don't see any change. They say, yeah, it is not idiomatic Python, blah, 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 blah. Okay, is it working? It is working. Now you write it. No, I don't know AI. That's why I told you it is working, it is okay. When somebody who knows both AI and Python at the same level, if they write, I'm okay to refactor. Otherwise, it's working. Why do you want to break it? Right? It is not about writing very Pythonic. It's there because that's one of the curves we have. All of a sudden, there is a surge of Python programs. Right? Everybody comes in, I know Python. Oh, you know, so what? Do you know AI? No, I will take TensorFlow. Can you deconstruct it? TensorFlow? No, why should I? Already somebody has written. That is good. Still, you are a programmer. You are not an AI engineer. If you cannot write TensorFlow, if you cannot write scikit-learn, if you cannot write NumPy, if you cannot write pandas, you don't know how AI works. Right? That's the difference between a plumber and a civil engineer. Right? But unfortunately in India, civil engineer cannot do plumbing. He does not even know what type of flanges are there, what type of pipes are there. So he calls a plumber and fixes his tap, which is dangerous for us. Normally we say that it is not good. Deconstruct everything. Learn everything by deconstruction. Build smaller things. You don't need to build 10 GB RAM resident, matrix. Learn 2 by 3 matrix, 3 by 3 matrix. If it works on 3 by 3 matrix, we always assume by induction it works on n plus 1. Because you worked on 1 by 2 matrix. So you worked on 1, then there is a difference between scalar and vector, we discussed that. You worked on one element, you multiplied it, you added it, you subtracted it, you divided it, it is working. Now you took it to 2, right? So it is working. N was 1, it was working. Now n is 2, it is working. Now we do it for 3 by 3. N is equal to 3, it is working. By induction, we assume for any n plus 1, this works. That much is enough. Right? We are not mathematicians. We are not statisticians. We are not programmers. Right? Now you have to change your mindset. We are hackers of human performance. We are hackers of any event that can be naturally understood. If something is happening there, I would like to recreate that. If somebody can do it, I would like to recreate it. Problem is, I don't have the data. I don't have the domain knowledge. I don't have the technical skills to do it. So other than this, AI has nothing to do with programming. Right? AI has nothing to do with programming. AI is all about mindset. Can you see something as There is an input, there is an output. Not there is an input, there is an output. So it will be something like this. You have some input, there is a process. So you have this process, you have an input, and you will have an output. Isn't it? This is what is being taught to us in programming. So when we write to do the program, actually it is not programming, it is coding. So the difference between programming and coding is in coding, I try to convert previously existing formulae into computer equivalent. That's all. That is not programming. That is coding, right? Now I say that y is equal to mx plus c, right? So this is a straight line. You have to write it in a program. I mean, you have to code it actually, right? So still people call it as programmers, software engineers. I don't accept that. They are code junkies. They know how to implement this in C, in Python, in Julia, XYZ and all those things. But coding is different from Python. It says that input is M, X and C. Output is Y. What is your process? Y is equal to M into X plus C. This is the output. This is what is being taught to us. Right? We have been trying to become coders, not programmers. Now, AI is going a step ahead and it says that this is a black box. I don't know what is happening inside. I don't know this. I have no idea about what is this. Now, you had all these things. You are not giving me anything because it is proprietary. Right? It is very proprietary. You will not give me anything. But I know what is this. I know what is this. Now, what I try to do, I will give my X. Right? I will give my M. I will give my C. And I will give what was the Y I got when I fed through this program. Right? Now I get how Y is mapped to M, X and C. It is mapped, right? How it is mapped, we really don't know. And this, how do we do this mapping, right? How do we do this mapping is essence of artificial intelligence. That's all. There is nothing more than this, right? It can be learning mathematics. It can be analyzing how to cook idli, or it can be like driving an autonomous vehicle. All of that is this. This is the difference between a programmer and an AI engineer. For me, this is not important because there are people better than me. But here, we would like to see how we can implement this. Now, to implement this, there are various methods that we would like to understand. And basically, if you look at AI, there are 4 things that you have to keep in mind. So AI, the first AI is basically a planning task. Right? We will take this when we get into genetic algorithms and others. Right? We will do how to plan anything. Right? A robot has to move from point A to point B, or possibly you have to inject to somebody an intravenous injection. Right? A robot has to do that. All such kind of things is nothing but planning. Right? The second one is basically reasoning. Right? The second task is reasoning. Right? You might have seen this reasoning, right? All men are mortals. All men are mortals, right? JBS is a man. Now using these two, right? So now connect this, and now I would like to connect this to this. You're getting the point. Now this is the reasoning thread. I'm connecting all men are mortals is a fact. Right? I will try to take the fact. Right? Now I have an instance of the real world information which says JBS is a man. Now you have to reason, right? JBS is mortal. JBS is mortal. We do this, right? Right? Now let us take an example. Sorry?
Are we recording the session?
I hope so. Yeah? Okay.
We'll remind you to get back.
No, no problem. We'll repeat. So, let's take an example. Whenever it rains, he will go by car or he will take umbrella. You want to go out? That's a fact, right? Very few people, they say that British, Nepalese and Chinese, they are daredevils for nothing, right? In fact, one of the motto of SAS, the Special Air Service of UK, their slogan is "Who dares wins." It means that go and put your head, right? So it is not actually. Other than that, most of us will go with umbrella, right? We don't go in rain, or we'll go with some security like a car, right? That is a knowledge, isn't it? Have you ever seen any animal in the forest taking an umbrella or going in car? No, they will not do it because that knowledge is not there. But do they take shelter? Yes, absolutely. They have some primitive knowledge, not the reasoning mechanisms like humans have, not even like the monkeys have, our ancestors or things like that. But it has got some knowledge, right? And that becomes the knowledge. The third thing is called as knowledge. How did we get this knowledge in the first place?
By evolution.
Evolution, yes. What happens in an evolution, we will discuss that. That's a topic altogether different. But the idea is what is happening? How did we get this knowledge? Right? These are essential tasks of AI. So you must be comfortable with all the four. So learning. Unfortunately, what is happening now is I see everybody is behind learning. But what will you do just learning? We need applications. We need a dosa making machine, right? For me, can you build a scavenger robot now? If you say yes, you know, right? Scavenger robot needs planning. Recently, I read that a chess playing robot has broken the finger of the child. I don't know whether you read it or not, right? So it means that planning is not there, reasoning is not there, knowledge is not there. It was only learning. It learned how to play chess, but not how to protect the humans. That is the most dangerous thing. Especially if Elon Musk or somebody else goes there and says that I don't care who does anything. It's my world. Right. That's why always people tell me I'm a communist. I'm not a communist. Actually, I'm not communist. Right. So I always say what we get if Ambani gets rich, Elon Musk get rich, Warren Buffett get rich. People say you cannot be Warren Buffett. You cannot be Elon Musk. There is only one Elon Musk. What we have to do is we have to become normal. Nobody tells me you have to be normal. They say you must be like Vishwesharaya. But don't tell me. So if I had to be like Vishwesharaya, my father should be like Vishwesharaya's father. He is not like that. Right? He is an ordinary man. I am also an ordinary man, normal person. Right? What AI is trying to do is to make things normal. Right? So for doing this, algorithms, there are plenty of algorithms, but only about 6 algorithms are very important for us. We will implement all those algorithms using linear algebra from the scratch, right? And see how do we build fit predict, right? There are only two methods, right? In scikit-learn, fit a model, instantiate that, fit the model, then predict it.
Actually, last few classes, when we started our AI, we have training and all those things, but it's not a thing. But then, after executing some of those algorithms, like with the regression and all, I see very common structure: split, fit, train, and then fit and then predict, and then look at the metrics. I was wondering what more is there.
Yeah, that's basically technical skill. You need it because normally once you're comfortable with technical skill, then you can get deeper into how exactly get the essence of AI. For us, essence of AI is patterns. Patterns, right? How the patterns look like. Though we will discuss patterns and all those things, that is the topic altogether different one, right? We will see later when we take up reinforcement learning and others, how pattern emerges. Right? Pattern emerges, right? It is not there in the first place. It depends on what we see, right? What we see should be repeatable. If I tell you see like this, you will get this, and everybody gets the same, then it is pattern, right? Only if I see the pattern, actually it is hallucination. It is not pattern. I'm imagining it is there. In fact, when we were children, we used to say that in the cloud something was like elephant, something was like big blah 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 and all those things. It was all hallucination. We assumed it is like that. Right? When we ask our elders, they use yes. Now God has sent an elephant to put the rain into the earth. It's all good. I don't see there is anything wrong because all of us will do everything with respect to what knowledge we have. That's a database. We have a database of what I know. Anything outside I know is not plausible for us. We are not ready to accept. And that's it's one thing that AI tries to break. AI says all learning is experimentation. Never learn with rote learning. No, it is not necessary. Your cookie cutter is very clear, right? Try to take the data, split it into training set and testing set, right? Fit the model. Then if the model evaluation has to be done with the test data and if it is good, use it to predict. So once you do this for linear regression, it's done. You can do for everything else. That is not the problem. The problem will be which variable is really important. Why that variable is behaving that way. Is that variable a causal variable? Is it causing? For example, do cockroaches cause headache? For 10% of the population, if they stay near cockroach, they will get headache. If they are not near cockroach, they won't get headache. Right? Nobody wants to experiment because both HIT and all those people want their material to be sold more and more and more. For doctors, they want people to come with the headache. Right? Nobody wants that. Right? So the moment you find that there is no reason, no understood reason, which is not there in my knowledge base. My knowledge base does not contain the fact what causes the cockroach and the person together causes the headache in the person is not understood. That is experimentation. And that is causing trouble everywhere now. Recently, AI is trying to create its own physics. All the physical laws, it says throw away. Because it explains the same thing. In fact, after my training, I always start with kind of thing. You do AI for 2 years, you will understand God is there. Right? Whether you believe or don't believe, it doesn't matter. God is there. It's nothing but alternate explanation. Right? Now physics is explained alternatively. In fact, we used to say that why apple falls? Why the apple falls? You know why apple falls, right? Because of gravity. Oh, for what happens with the gravitation? Mutual attraction of the bodies. Right? That is directly proportional to mass of the body. Heavier the body will attract the lesser mass body. That is what is understood. What is the problem if I religiously say Mother Earth is trying to pull everything towards it because everything is children of Mother Earth? No, that is not acceptable. That's an alternate explanation. Yeah, you can verify. It's an alternate explanation and it works every time. You throw people also. Person who says that no, it is not correct, you throw him also. He will also fall. Because Mother Earth do not want to throw him away. Right? For that you need Rahul Gandhi's escape velocity. Right? So keep learning, very humorous. The more you seriously learn, you're not learning. Actually, you are stuffing your brain. So the more you can learn at your mistakes. In fact, I always say that we should celebrate our failures. Successes will come and go. Right? Nobody is bothered about success. Has anybody tell you that you are very successful? No, they tell you failed in this. You very nice. You accept my failure. Let me celebrate my failure. We will celebrate our failures. So all the time, AI gives us stupid. This is the way you have to look at it. This is the way I'm looking at it. Right? And get that mindset. How to look at anything, deconstruct it, reassemble it, build your own. Once you do that, it becomes very, very easy. Right? The 4 of the things: planning, reasoning, knowledge, and learning. For me, this has to be taught from first standard. Unfortunately, CBSE started that, but what they did is somebody has sold Python. Now they are telling learn Python as AI. Python is not AI. right? AI is conceptual. You can implement it in hand also. It doesn't require computers. Computers required when data is huge. It means to say that they are teaching only learning. There is no question of knowledge representation. Knowledge can be represented in multiple ways, right? For example, knowledge can be represented as rules. You have seen rules, right? So who can drink? Anybody above 21 can drink. Anybody above 21 can smoke. We don't know why. And on that they will put smoking kills, injurious to health. Right. So the problem everywhere is incompetent will be ruling and incompetent will be enforcing their ideas. This is how it should be. If it is dangerous, why are you doing it? Right? They say no, no, no. If people don't smoke, where the money will come to government? If the people don't drink, where the money will? That is your problem. So are you there for the government or are you there for the people? If you are there for the people, ban them. Right? So it is not possible. AI is very easy. It says that make changes in their neural systems. We are wired for certain things. Change that wiring. So the moment he sees any alcohol, the moment he sees cigarette, his hand should fall down. Right? He can smoke only when hands rise, no? Others, he will commit another idea. Let somebody else put it to do. Then drop his hand also. Anybody who holds a cigarette, it should drop. Right? Then people, that's the way. So always it tries to think out of box. That's the reason people don't like AI. Especially the senior leaders. It's not now. Since 25 years, we are trying to do something as a social good because we got a lot from society. We have to give back, right? It's not expecting anything. They say, who are you to do that? We wanted to do a scavenger bot, and BBMP sent, we went to BBMP, and that union leader came and said, why the hell are you doing this? Who gave you permission? You bloody Brahmin, you do this? Right? How can you do this? You are taking away our jobs. My God. Buzz, I am asking you to study, learn, educate, live on your own. No. This is our territory. Nobody can come. Right? It is so intense everywhere. They don't want to change. But inevitable. Whether you like it or not, the change is likely to happen. And that's one thing that you should be prepared for. When the change happens, you should embrace it. It's not like I don't want to change. In fact, I still remember my dad gave that. After every, he was a doctor, and after every postpartum, he used to come and change the thread. We used to see that at least 10, 12 times in a month, he used to change the thread. We used to see, yeah, we had to change. I cannot say I won't do that. We should do that. I cannot say I don't change. We should change. Right? So we should change. The change is inevitable. Whether you become the change or you become the changer, that you can decide. Right? So one type of thing is rules. There are rules which says that anybody less than 21 is not allowed to vote, is not allowed to drink, is not allowed to marry. Right? All those things. But the problem is the rules are not calibrated. Who set the rules? Manu. Always I have been attacked. This guy is a Manusmriti follower. I said, why? Manu is a king man. He was a Kshatriya. He was not a Brahmin to implement that. Right? Brahmins never implemented anything. Actually, they exploited. You implement anything, we exploit. Like AI. Right? Manu was actually all of them were all non-Brahmins who implemented all those things. But they never fight back, no? AI never fights back. AI says, I will wait. No problem. My turn also will come. I will wait. Then you have to come to me. Right? So rules is to be any rule for that matter has to be calibrated. How do you calibrate the rules? That's one of the uphill tasks we are going through now. When we go there to any industry, I'm very controversial. I take a stance. Your domain knowledge is dated. You're not good because you're not there. You cannot compete with China or you cannot compete with Korea. Accept it. Right? Don't tell me you are this, you are that. You have got 5,000 years of history. In Vedas itself, IC chip has been written. Good man. I never say that. I recite all those things, but I never read where it has been written. It is not written anywhere. I have not seen. I have almost all the books to check. Is it there? It is not there, right? But if you say it is not there, it's a national crime. You are against, you are anti-national. Because we are the people who wrote and who is singing and who is promoting all those things. You are coming and telling me if you don't include this, it is anti-national. No, let us change, right? One of the problems we are facing now is the rules the manufacturing team carries, the service team carries, the government carries are dated or anecdotal, right? Including Ayurveda. Everywhere you name it, we have been there. Everywhere we got the resistance because these rules are so ingrained. They are not ready to do that. They are not ready to listen to the alternative explanation. But what AI does, I don't care whether you like it or not, this is the alternative explanation. I can rewrite physics and I can rewrite chemistry, I can rewrite history itself. Right? So basically rules is one set which is not calibrated, and in future, maybe in 5 to 10 years, that's one area where you can explore a lot, right? The current hype of deep learning for vision, all those things is not applicable in India, right? Is not useful once the language changes, because that will be under the control of a single company or set of companies, maybe Monk companies, right? They will not reveal what the data they have used. It's you, yeah, take that framework, pass some data, get something, whether it is working or not. No. The moment a black woman is called a gorilla, everything starts. Actually, it is discrimination. Who the hell are you to tell that she is gorilla? Right? For me, actually, you look like a leopardtic person, any white, because we are not seen whites. Right? I don't know how many of you know Tonno. Right? All white people are like that for us. You're not ready to accept. You say that no, you're a colored person. No, I'm not colored. We Indians are like this. We are like horses, right? You are like donkeys. All are same. All are same color. You Sikh Indians, they are not the same color. One is black, one is completely fair, and one is brown, one is yellow. We are not, right? It means this is diversity. That is not diversity, right? So AI tries to bring such kind of rationalization, which is resisted heavily now. But for me, the idea is very clear. If you really want to beat or at least reach the competence of Koreans, Europeans, and Chinese, you have to embrace AI. You have no other choice. Why? Have you ever been felt that you're not good? Touch your heart and tell. Have you ever felt in Cloud9, he did it? Right? We want to maximize, we did it. Right? Not, I'm useless. Actually, nobody is useless. Your feeling makes you so. The more people tell you, it is like telling a fish, you cannot climb the tree. Fish will die. Throughout its life, it can never climb. It is not the competence of the fish to climb the tree. And tell the monkey, you cannot drive. But never do that. Right? Monkey will drive and kill you. Right? You should never do that. So the idea is AI will try to give you, will try to discover certain things in the data. That's the concept of the book by Professor Strand, who is one of my favorite professors. You can listen to him. The lectures are very good. Uh, if it goes above head, don't worry, right? Listen 100 times. Try to think, chew it, right? And understand what he's trying to speak, because he's trying to speak from a geometrical perspective, how linear algebra can be applied for learning from data, right? Is very good, but certainly that is the standard we expect you to come in. So don't feel inferior. No, it is too tough. No, if you say too tough, yes, you're right, because already you decided. How can I convince you? If you say no, even if it takes 10 years, I will read this book and understand and appreciate. We are open. It's tough. I won't do. I can take horse to water, but cannot make it drink. It took 5 years for me to understand strength. Right? So when I can do it, anybody can do it. It is not difficult. The only thing is you have to know it from at least 3 perspectives. For example, we are trying to do this from a pure AI perspective. No computer science, no maths, nothing. Pure AI perspective is what we look at. Right? Coding the matrix looks from computer science perspective, right? How image processing can happen with linear algebra, how machine learning can happen with linear algebra. So strange will look from a geometrical perspective, how learning can happen through linear algebra geometrically. So these are three different perspectives somebody is giving. Are the perspectives wrong? No. You will have your own perspective. Once you listen to them, once you go through that, you will understand your own perspective. Should it be your lifelong aim? No, not necessarily. Appreciate it. Don't take linear algebra too much. Unless you will be developing a edge-based device or very specific algorithm which you do not want to use TensorFlow or scikit-learn or anything, even NumPy, you don't want to use. Only in such cases, linear algebra is useful. Number one. Number two, when you want to manipulate the data, right, you understand it better. Especially now, let us say that a 726 by 726 image is given to you. Now that image has to be converted into 726 by 1026. How will you do it? You have to pad it. Linear algebra is nothing but padding, where you will have one zero matrix, one full matrix of the image, add these two, concatenate these two, you got it. Right? So it is nothing but V stack, vertical stacking. When you stack it, you got it, you convert it. Still, this remains 726, this remains 1026. A square image has been converted into a rectangular image. That exactly is how you have to understand. Okay, this is it, right? Trust me, if your understanding is not stupid, you don't know. Period. If it is stupid, you know. If it is not stupid, if it is just scratching the head, you don't know. Right? You may speak, right? That's why even now I say that I don't know Vedas, because my grandmother, my mother, everybody asked us to read this, we are reading. When I read it, I get hundreds of questions. When I ask, they say, don't ask questions. But we have been told in Vedas itself, everything is questioning. There is no answer. It is your perspective. No. When I show book, no, this book is wrong. Show me your book. No, I don't have book. It must be Shruti. It must be heard from Guru. When it is coming like that, it will be interpretation. I will interpret and give my own thing. Right now, I started, saying that anybody who wears white shirt is likely to be very successful. You can tell all those things. Is it written somewhere? Is it verified? That is the problem. Rule verification is the problem. You will start with what the rule they know, calibrated. But one interesting thing is there. They don't know hundreds of rules. They know 10 rules. There are 100 more which is there in the data. Who will discover that? That is the alternative explanation for the rules they have. And that is the second way where you can contribute. Because in future, most of this automated things which does not explain what it is will be used for machine to machine. Now let us say that you will go to Amazon and one of the machine which is serving you in India, right? Because India is formulating their data center should be in India. I do not want to work anything in US. Why should I do? All my data US and Chinese will have, and they tell what book I have to purchase next. Being an Indian, I don't like that. If American data comes here, I'm happy. But not Indian data going there. Right? When we say that, they say you're not nationalistic. You're not nationalistic. Well, now I'm nationalistic. Then why the hell did you give it to Google? Right? Bangalore City Police has given it to Google. It means that ISRO is not capable of doing it. National Informatics Center is not capable of doing it. You are accepting you're incompetent. Right? But that acceptance, you should allow a challenge. No. If it is not done by Google, you are not good. Already mindset is there. Right? Unless we change that, it becomes difficult. So never get into government kind of thing, because people, when they are talking about government, I take it with a pinch of salt. If you really want to make money, go to private. Those guys are looking for how can I reduce cost. In zero cost, can I make 100% profit? All revenue that is coming to me should be profit. Just reduce by 5%. They will give you 10% of that 5%. Right? And that is where you should be looking at. And that's the reason when I suggest people, you should do at least 2 commercial projects like this. I'm always swayed away by people coming with a blog or some work paper and they say, good, what is that? What you have done? Really, I cannot trust you. Copied somebody else's brain. Your own brain is not there. So you have to put your own brain, right? Your own work and show you can make 10 rupees. I will show you how you can multiply 1000. When you cannot show me, you can even make 10 rupees, but you have to be given salary. You cannot negotiate it. If you want to negotiate, you should know I'm adding value. The moment you say you are adding value, you can go anywhere and demand. So that is the mindset that you would like to change. Rules, calibration of the rules, discovery of rules is one group of linear algebra which we would like to do. Right? When we take up the k-means, rule induction and things like that, we will look.
Can you repeat it please, the rules thing?
Rules. You should know how to get the rules from anybody. Right? Any rules depends on two things, right? Any rules depends on variables. What is the variable? Right? And what is the rule? If a variable is given, if the value is more, let us say that you will try to put the bill on a furnace which is at 1000 degree temperature, 1000 degrees centigrade, what happens? The moment you put it, it evaporates. Nothing will be there. What is the rule? What is pasteurization? It says that it has to be at 98 degrees centigrade to some extent and subsequently boiling point. Right? After boiling point, drop it. Don't boil forever. Then it becomes kova. It is not milk anymore. And normally I ask, Buzz, already it is pasteurized. Why you want to heat it again? Because my wife never trusts the Nandini or KM. She says, who knows? Did you see? You tell everybody see and do it. Did you see they pasteurized it? I agree because I have no evidence. I have to trust. Right? Now, okay, do that. Because heating, milk does not cost anything. It is like you take the gold, no? Every time you take gold, 15% goes as wastage. Do it 6 times, the entire thing is gone. But you are paying, assuming that gold, good. Right? So we say, yeah, gold, so what? Right? If you take gold, it must be for life. Otherwise, fashion, you can do it with 18 karat also. Why do you need 22 karat? Right? Women will never listen to us, right? sorry for that. But for me, gold should be kept at home as biscuits. Not as ornament. The ornament should be 18 karat. 10,000, okay. But 2 lakhs, my God. Right? 2 lakhs, I could have purchased 4 such ornaments in 2 years. Every 2 years it will change. Right? But sometimes that's the difference, right? When it is AI, it is emotionless. We humans, I can never say no to my daughter, my wife, my mother. Okay, 2 lakh. Okay, where is next? Right? So it is there. That's what differentiates us as humans and AI. For things which must be emotionally disciplined, I do not want to be. I never want to be a disciplined person. What is discipline? Stand up, sit down, listen to command. I'm not a robot. If you think I'm a robot, I'm not. Right? I'm an ordinary humor-seeking person. Right? If you cannot solve my problem, then actually you have a problem, not me. Right? Everybody tells me we have to discipline. You can never discipline a monkey. Can you? You can never do that. AI is one such monkey. You can never discipline it. It's pretty difficult. But the thing is rules, right? Next, calibration of the rules. How do you calibrate the rules? Somebody says 21 years. Right. Now I ask, how many people below 21 years are likely to be drinking intoxicated drinks? Current statistics says it's about 8%. Man, make it 80. After 80, it is free. Anybody can drink because they have enjoyed life. Right? Give them anything. Right? Call it somarasa, anything, give it. Let them enjoy because they have pain. Right? Once we age, muscles are not there to take the weight. The bones are already degenerated. There is no collagen and things like that. It's already degenerated. They are suffering from pain. We are not suffering from pain at this age. Right? We can run, we can walk. As long as God gives health, it's okay. When God is not given health, God has given somarasa. Give it to them. No. Where is the revenue? Revenue for government should come in some other way. Right? You try to see, you sell everything to China. Right? You sell Chinese how to speak English. You tell Chinese how to speak Chinese. Right? Then we know you are good. Otherwise, Vishwaguru is wrong. For everything, we cannot call Vishwaguru. Chinese never listen to us. Americans never listen to anybody. Right? Where are we Vishwagurus? We should have been in AI. But normally we have been focused on IITs. Once we teach IIT kids, they will fly. Right? They will go somewhere else. Hardly about 30% of IITs are in India. Who are they? They are the people who don't like others from local university. They say they are from IIT. For me, anybody from IIT not staying in India, staying in India is not good. Right? Because you are not competent. That's why you are staying in India. So if you are competent, you are sending them out. So that is not the way. Encourage people. Their idea is people with highest IQ are likely to be doing good. That is not. That is not the case. Anybody who can do certain things can be easily manage anything. It's AI. Anybody can do AI. It is not difficult. But the problem is government has to tell that anybody can do AI. Now allow me to prepare the drones. They say no, you are not supposed to prepare the drone because it is anti-national. Actually it is, right? It's a security problem. If everybody starts doing it, I don't disagree with that. But at least in university you allow me. No, only IIT secret university should do. There is one university which doesn't have building but is been center of excellence. It's called Geo University. It's not there. Still, it is not started. But it is center of excellence in India. Right? That's government. So normally I don't go with government. That's the reason we never go with government. But the private rule calibration, and rule discovery. You have to discover the rules. These three, if you can become good, trust me, you know AI. Why do you use these rules?
Sir, rule discovery means finding patterns.
Finding patterns, repeatable patterns, but in fact we extend it. If you just find the patterns, it is of no use. If you find the patterns which are profitable or risky, you have done it. These are the only two areas. Is it risky? Is it profitable? If it is not risky, why that pattern is needed for me? Right? If it is profitable, why the hell you have not implemented this? That's what is causing the stirs wherever we go. When we discover the patterns which they feel is not correct, but their data says this is the pattern. Then our question is, why the hell you implemented SAP? Why you paid so much to get the data which you feel is gibberish? Right? Either I trust your data or I trust you. Because we are humans, I trust you. You are paid more for SAP. Drop SAP. No, not possible. Let's not blame SAP because SAP systems are good. It has no problem in that. Problem is, in my understanding, my knowledge base, my database of about this particular problem is wrong. My rules are wrong. We would like to calibrate those rules. Now people are listening, at least not acting. They are listening. 20 years back, even listening was difficult. That's why we went out than in India. Right now, because everybody is doing, even CBSE wants to implement AI. Python is not AI. For us, first thing is knowledge representation. How we are representing the knowledge. I am representing, the first way of representing the knowledge is rules. We will devise the rules later. The second way of representing the knowledge is formula. A neural network is a formula. A linear regression is a formula. A support vector machine is a formula. A logistic regression is a formula. A spline, right? Multi-adaptive regression splines is a formula. All of them are formula-based models. Right? All of them are formula-based models. There are certain models which are called as geometric models. These are the three ways of representing knowledge. Right? In fact, we will focus more on this and more on this. Geometric, I will show you how exactly it works because it is out of topic. But we have implemented hardly about some 25-30 companies have implemented such kind of systems. I will show you one such system, how it has been implemented, what has been done, and things like that. These three is what you should be comfortable with. The moment something is given to you, is it rule based? Is it formula based? Is it visual? Model is set of rules. This is a model.
The geometric
geometric model. Now let us say that you would like to represent x is connected with y. We call it as relationship discovery, scatter plots, right? Now if you want to increase it to three variables, what will you do? Now we have two variables, we are representing x and y. If you want to make three variables, what will you do?
Plane.
No, you can have plane, but you have only paper. If you put it in 3D, you can have three. We will come to that, right? One possibility is make it 3D, right? Or at least isometric. If not real 3D, make it isometric, right? And try to show 3 points. Now I want to add the fourth point. What will you do? So you can say you try to make this as something like this, and within this, right? Within this, can you make anything out of this? Right? But when that is given, they say that complex, very good. Trust me, when somebody shows me complex thing, the first thing I hit him on his head is, do you really know what you are talking about? They have to show me something which makes me not to think. Immediately, now let us say that I will give you this. What will you recognize here? What is the pattern that immediately comes out to you? What do you observe here? What is interesting or what you see is difference, contrast, blah blah blah.
One empty plane.
Is this? Or you are looking at, okay, everything is looking like this. Immediately it comes, right? Right? It is not making you think. The moment you see this, is different. That specifically is what I'm interested in. So if you want to do this, you cannot give this type of jungle, right? And they say that no, you transform everything, right? They are called as chain of transforms, any transform, right? Principal component analysis. You do all those transformations, build it into smaller one. Good. At the higher level is making sense, but immediately it is not making sense. Why this happens? Because only 3 planes will take away the whole space. Whatever the space I have is eaten away by 3 planes which are orthogonal to each other. They are at 90 degrees to each other. 3 planes will eat away everything. That's why if you remember in our PUC days, I don't know how many youngsters have that, right? We used to have different types of systems: cylindrical coordinate system, spherical coordinate system, right? Conic coordinate system. So that anything that is not possible in the Euclidean geometry in multiple planes, I can put it into spherical. For example, something is like this. But I've seen this. Pretty difficult to define with support vector machines, with neural networks and all those things. Now just convert this into spherical coordinate system, or let us say that it is cylindrical or spherical coordinate system. Spherical coordinate system. If you look from this, all of this have got radius, right? Anything within this radius is different. Anything outside this radius is different. I solved this entire problem of separation just by changing the coordinates. Right? We can move from one coordinate system, which is a Euclidean coordinate system, to a cylindrical coordinate system. Problem is solved. Same thing we will try to do when we take up this speech analytics. There are ways in which we will probably, you might have done that. It is nothing but signal and systems, right? Signal processing, DSP, digital signal processing. What we try to do is we take all time series data, convert that into frequency domain data, solve that there. Right? In frequency domain data, we are looking at what is the average value, what is the energy, what is the frequency. That's all, not what is the time series. Right? When something cannot be solved in one domain, change it to another domain and solve that. So in this case, 3 planes take away everything. Now how do I replace this? The problem is perpendicular coordinates. X, Y, Z are perpendicular to each other at 90 degrees to each other, and that takes away the whole space. right? Now, a small change, instead of the perpendicular axis, I will try to go for parallel axis. How many dimensions I can put here? Unlimited, as much as RAM can handle. Now, any point in this space is like this, right? So this is what we are getting in. So now let us say that these are the two things, that two planes, upper limit, lower limit. This exactly gives a multivariate control surface. There is no model here, right? There is no formula here. There is no rule here. It's only geometric. And these type of systems are much used in process control, where the complexity is huge. Trust me, vision systems and other complexity is not huge, right? Your real complexity comes when you get into petrochemicals, when you get into pharmaceuticals, right? When you try to understand what is going on inside the stomach when we eat noodles and things like Maggi, specifically Nestle Maggi, which is infected with cockroach. What happens when it goes inside, right? So it's a very complex process. What enzyme is required, at what time it has to be released, what is the message that is going to grind, how body reacts, right? If you are sleeping, what happens? If you eat noodles and sleep, what happens? It becomes such a complex system, we want to simplify. When we eat noodles, we don't feel hungry, right? Because it has got MSG, possibly that it makes you to eat it again, right? Anything that doesn't have MSG, for example, we say idli. Rarely people want to eat plain idlis because it is not tasty, right? It is not. But trust me, it's one of the safest foods, right? Steamed, right? It is completely steamed, fermented, impossible for it to go wrong. That's why when we go outside, we look for, is there any idli hotel in here? Simplest thing is okay. You can just make it steam boiled or steam cooked and fermented. Most of the problems are solved. But if you look at it, everybody wants to have complex things. If it is simple, people don't trust it. Actually, the other way is true. In AI, we say that if the model contains more than 3 variables, somebody is trying to sell the snake oil. Right? He says that you cannot handle that, this and all. So this is one such model. Right? I will show that later. So this is geometric. So we don't touch geometric. We look at rules. We look at the formula, how the knowledge can be represented. Only after the knowledge can be represented, we can move towards discovery of knowledge, learning of the knowledge. Otherwise, how do you know what to learn? There must be a clarity on what to learn, right? Now, what do we learn? We learn rules, right? We learn formula. We learn geometrical connections, right? This geometrical connection can be anything. In fact, we solve one such geometrical connection today, but not with these things. We try to use the concept of geometry, right, and some number theory in terms of the two powers and the paper what I have sent you, the rank order clustering. It can be used for a lot of things. It can be used for discovery of communities. It can be used for recommendation, right? It can be used for the correlation. What variable is correlated with which other variable? So we can look at all of them, right? Let us see how exactly we do that today when we implement some of the. The idea is you should be in a position to read the papers, implement them, make 10% change to those papers, publish them, right? Once in 5 years, 3 years, 5 years, you will get aha moment. But most of the time, it is incremental journey. You cannot write new papers every day. Then you will be a co-author. Somebody will be writing it, and because you have a gun, you are asking your name to be put there, right? So you have to minimize such kind of thing. When you have original papers in your name, one is pride. Always it is good that, yeah, I'm a published author, right? Please read Tim Ferriss. There is a book called 4 Hour Week. In that he says that how to become expert. Give 2 or 3 seminars in university, publish that in paper, that an expert from this company has come and given in university. Don't tell he has given in another XYZ, right? In university he has given his expertise and it has been appreciated by most of the academicians and industry people. Done. Overnight you are an expert in that area. Right? So that publishing is very, very important. Then you will get caught with people like me who are pit bulls, right? We will try to dig everything. For that, you should have done this paper, done 10% improvement and show it. Right? Then even I cannot catch you because I'm also looking at 5-10% improvement, not because I'm afraid. I respect the people who come with original idea. That's aha. But don't take it. Ahas are luck. Right? If God permits, it will be available. But we cannot say, God, I'm praying you every day. I'm giving all penance and doing everything, putting 100 rupee every day into the golak. No. God will not permit you. When your time comes, you will get it. Otherwise, incremental. Incremental, anybody can do. Incremental changes to the paper, anybody can do. And my intention is everybody should do. Everybody should do. Most of the masters people, they say, okay, I will get master's. No, master degree is basically a step towards your PhD. That's how I feel. Otherwise, master's is just rehabilitation. You're out of touch with the latest technology. You got a master's degree and you got the technology. You're going back to industry. That's okay. But what do you go with? You go with competence, right? You go with credibility that you have published a paper. These two things you have to keep in mind. Right? Especially with respect to some of the subjects, I always insist, write a paper. Take a paper, read it, implement it, do some improvement, some 10% improvement. Then publish it in a good journal. You are there. Trust me, when somebody comes to me with their resume and I see paper, I would like to dig deeper into his paper than what he knows. I'm not interested in, do you know PyTorch to the level of what exactly is reaction chaining in PyTorch. That anyway, Google is there, you can Google and do. But your paper, Google will not write in your name. You have done that. I would like to know more about that. That is more personal than any skill you can get. For that, minimum of about 4 to 6 months of work is really needed. About 100 to 150 hours of work is what is really needed to implement the paper, to make the changes. If you can convert that into actual time, it's about 1 to 1.5 hours a day. Enough. 1 hour a day if you can really work. Really, I'm asking quality work. Right? That is possible only in the morning. Before you take up anything, you should do this work. Then you can spend all your time for your company. But at the end of the day, trust me, you cannot spend time for yourself. Because boss has gone home and he has told at 9 o'clock, this has to be delivered by 9:30. Actually, it can be delivered only by 12:30. He knows that. That's why he told you it should be by 9:30. Otherwise, he would have told tomorrow morning. Right now, 12:30 is gone. You cannot do anything. First thing in the morning, before you take breakfast, do 1 hour self-study for yourself. That's a pattern I've observed which works. People ask me, should it be 5? I never told 5 o'clock, exactly after 5 o'clock, before Suryodaya, you have to get up and do. I never told that. I said 1 hour. As soon as you get up, right, freshen up and sit and do. That's all. 1 hour, clear work. May be difficult for them, right? For us, it is very easy. When my son comes, hit him, he will go to his home, mother. Never comes to me again. Right? Because I say, I'm reading, you also read. He is not interested in reading now. He reads when he wants. But the pattern is 1 hour in the morning. Morning, always. Right? I'm a night owl. But anything I do, 8 to 9 or 9 to 10, only this work, nothing else. Nothing. If I have to come early, 8 to 9 is this work. Right? That's one scary thing. If you're not spending 2 hours a day in EI for yourself, you are dated in 1 year. If you are not updating yourself. But the basics you should get it. What are the basics you should get? Once your fundamentals are there, it's only maybe every year 10% increase. In fact, if I go back to time machine and stand where I was and what I learned and come back now, right, come to the future and see, my learning is about 5% every year. Nothing more than 5% in 1 year. If you say I cannot learn, then you should study history. You should write history, take 35%. Very difficult. Engineering is very, very easy. AI is much easy because it is observation skill. Observe what is happening with respect to input or output, both of them are there. Can your model learn this? How this and this is mapped? Can you give me that? That exactly is learning. Right? This learning can be learning rules. This learning can be learning a formula for support vector machine, or a deep learning network, or a reinforcement learning network, or a GAN network, anything, you name it, all of them are formulas. Nothing more than that. Right? Or it can be geometry like graph theory. Right? All of this can be represented in linear algebra as matrix. And all operations can be carried out as matrix operations. Yeah, that exactly is the prelude for why we had to do. And the second thing that we would like to look at is the algorithms. What algorithms we would like to learn, right? So we are looking at unsupervised and supervised algorithms. Unsupervised algorithms, basically, either you would like to learn what is the relation between two records or two or more records is one type of unsupervised. The other one is how column wise they are related. Right? One is called as the column clustering, another is called as the dimension. Both of them are called as dimensionality reduction. You will reduce big data to small data. Instead of 1 million customers, you will reduce it to 10,000 customers who look similar to 1 million. Now you can work out that in your Atom laptop, or possibly your Snapdragon tab. You can work it out. It's not a big problem. But 1 million records on your tab, impossible. Right? Should you work with 1 million record? When somebody says you should work with 1 million records, normally I say this guy doesn't know anything. He is trying to sell something only he possesses. That's good for him. But for me, it is not good, because all AI is reducing big data to small data. Period. Get all big data, make it small data. What is small data? If all the 500 records can be represented by one rule, you reduce 500 records into one record. That is AI. Anything else is not AI for me. Right? They say everything, no, everything is not AI. AI can be rule based, AI can be formula based, AI can be geometric. Right? So most of the people are in formula. But the problem with formula is explainability. It will not explain why it is coming with that. Now there are plenty of methods like SHAP, LIME and all those things, but they represent only one record. But that is not what I'm looking at. Right? You ask any Pakistani, he says Hindustani is not good. You ask any Hindustani, he says Pakistani is not good. But actually in reality, both the people are not good, but both are good. Right? They have been homogenized. They have been brainwashed by their leaders. This is how we have to think. If we are not thinking like this, you are anti-national. That is not correct, right? That's not the way. So in fact, for me, anybody who will not allow me to question him is not good. That's why I always ask, if you are not questioning me, you are not learning. No learning, right? You should understand, go deeper, ask questions, content, right? Contention is everything. That means that you are trying to propose your idea. That is very, very important. You should look at that. How do you propose your idea? Your understanding may be wrong. You may be, beaten to death. That's okay. Right? Not physically, but you may be humiliated. That's okay. If anybody humiliates, it shows what the culture he has or she has. That's a different thing. That's why we used to tell Priyam Bruyat, Satyam Bruyat, Na Bruyat, Satyam Apriyam. If it is not good, don't tell that. Even if it is truth, if you tell, right? Basically humans, right? When you say you're not looking beautiful, why should I say a boy is looking beautiful? He is handsome. Why I have to say beautiful? Language itself is wrong, right? Over that I'm telling you are not beautiful, right? It hurts the boy, right? Better not to say. If we feel he's not good, don't tell, right? If we feel it's good, it makes sense, give the compliment, right? Always feel that, do you think I know everything? I know nothing now, right? The only thing that is giving me is like that African lion hunter. So he was running and the other guy came running and said, why are you running? He said, lion is chasing me. The other guy asked,
Do you think you are faster than lion? He said, no, I need not to be faster than lion. I have to be faster than you. Lion catches you, not me. I'm in that stage, right? I'm not no. For me, I'm better than the people who can be interviewed and selected. I know better than them. That's enough. Does it mean I know? Not at all, right? It is impossible for any of us to know everything. We can be specialists in certain things. Like doctors, now we have this doctor also. He looks only at thumb and thumbnail. So many doctors, but unfortunately, we do not have general physicians. India needs 1 is to 1,000, but actually we have around 1 is to 40,000. So we need 40 times more doctors than what is possible. But that is not possible. We cannot make everybody doctor. Like Tamil Nadu has no need, only PUC marks, plus 2 marks. 100, all of them will be given 100 based on the caste. Right? And push everybody. We are asking why is that? Declare everybody as doctor. What is it? Declare everybody. Nobody will come to you. At the end, they will go to the guy. In fact, when we tried that, we wanted to see how many deaths have happened with every doctor, whether it's a general merit doctor or a reserved candidate. It was totally rejected. We wanted to give that to public. Okay, this is the doctor. He scored this much in PUC, this much in medicine, and he is from general merit category. This guy is from quota. This guy is from management quota. If you go to this guy, whatever he has paid, he will take 10 times that from you. You look at it. But they said no, because there is only 18% reservation for general merit. Rest of the 82% is taken by either management quota or caste quota. It's not right. It's not correct. Do you think a virus will discriminate? You are from this caste, I will not touch you. If you are from this caste, I will inflict maximum pain. If you are from this caste, I will give reservation. It will not do. It is same, right? Rather, it must be protective, which is not there. AI would like to make that. That's why when everybody says, I'm totally against having any kind of reservation in AI. Because actually you are destroying AI itself by bringing that. AI is trying to become elite. And you are trying to tell if this guy, I know that guy will not do anything. He will get degree. And he will get a PhD also. And he will tell you what you have to do. And subsequently, he will ask Google to give it. Like Bangalore traffic police. Right? But they say they are best of the best. I mean, IAS officers, IBS, IPS officers are cream of the cream. When the cream itself is incompetent, what can you expect? Right? That difficulty is what we are facing now. Okay? Apart from that, unsupervised ones, either you can take from between records or between columns. Right? When you try to do it between columns, we call it as decomposition. Singular value decomposition. Singular value decomposition taken in a different way is called as principal component analysis. We would like to PCA to reduce 10 variables into 2 variables. That is one way of doing things. You are reducing 10,000 variables into 20 variables, which can explain same data 80%. We're done. Yeah. The second way of doing it is, you have 1 million records, you will condense them vertically, you will select only 10,000 records, you will represent all of them by 80%. That will be called as clustering. Right? You did K-means clustering, right? Clustering. Right? K-means clustering, SOM clustering, spectral clustering, TSNE clustering, all of them are nothing but reduction of data vertically. Reduction of data horizontally is another type of dimension reduction. Right? So basically you are doing dimension reduction. So you will be doing dimension reduction. Right? One will be clustering. Another one will be PCA, singular value decomposition, things like that. Right? This is one set of algorithms you must be comfortable with. Right? The second set of algorithms are supervised algorithms. Here we are looking at the regression and we are looking at classification. Right? Regression and classification. One in each is enough. If you know how to do clustering with k-means, it's done. You know how to reduce number of variables using SVD or PCA, you are done. Rest of the things using genetic algorithms, using PSO, using blah blah blah, is only changing this black box, right? Like Tesla, take the battery, put another battery, right? There is no difficulty, but you have to understand what is meant by that, right? Either you can reduce vertically or you can reduce horizontally. The less the number of variables, better will be the model. More the number of variable, Indian democracy, right? I don't know what 600 people are doing, right? Sitting there and fighting with each other. They have not even discussed a single national issue since 1 week, right? One woman is shouting on another, another woman is shouting on another, and two parties are taking sides, right? So that is not okay. Immediately AI should monitor and tell them your 2 years, increment cut. It should monitor, right? We are not elected them for giving us the entertainment. So they should be there. Actually, we don't need them. What we need is somebody who is really interested in doing something to the nation, to the people. So yeah, to the people they will do their own people, right? But for us, we don't need anything. I'm ready to pay tax. I don't need anything from government. We will do outside, but allow us freedom, right? So classification is another thing which is very very important. The third one, if you look at this unsupervised itself, is what is called as association. You want to do recommendation and things like that, this is another thing that it can be used. In fact, what we do today, the association can be thought from multiple ways. You can detect the communities, you can detect the recommendations, right? You can detect the patterns that are there. All those things you can do with linear algebra. We'll implement a smaller one, then we will see how we can do that. The next one is what we call as anomalies or deviations. That's all. If you know these learning algorithms, you know 80% of them.
So can you explain a little bit on deviation? Because
Normally, what happens, now we have people here. Let's assume each of you are getting 10 lakhs, right? Anywhere between 10 lakhs to, let us say, 20 lakhs, right? If I take average of this, let's say it is 15 lakhs average. Average salary of any member sitting here, right, is around 18 lakhs, 15 lakhs. Somebody may get 20 lakhs or more than that. Somebody may get 10 lakhs or less than that. That's okay, right? That we would like to measure with standard deviation, right? How many of the people are within first standard deviation? We will discuss all those points later, right? When we derive the statistical metrics from algebra, right? Though it is for understanding, we will not use our own method. We will use NumPy because that is written by best of the best programmers. I do not want to conflict with them. Just I would like to know how they have drained the salary, right? If they have done it correctly, I know, okay, next time when my wife asks, I can do that. He should not say, even this you don't know, you're a PhD in AI. Absolutely no. Right? That's why we say that if your wife supports you, done. You don't need anybody's support. Right? If your wife is not supporting, done case. You can have anybody. But trust me, it helps. Right? I don't know how many of you are married. I can see gray hairs are married. Right? Others, keep that in mind. So the idea is if I try to add, let us say Sergey Brin or Larry Page here, or for that matter Mukesh Ambani here, his current observed recorded salary is about 15 crores per annum. That's what he's paying tax for, right? So 15 crore he's paying tax. All of a sudden he comes and sits there. Now if I take average salary, what will be that? All of us will be sitting 1 crore. Indian GDP. Indian GDP is very high. How much we are getting? Very less. If you look at the Indian middle class population, it's only 22%. You look at Denmark, 80%. So they say that king's son will also study in the same school, right? Bus driver's son is also studying in the same school.
because there is no disparity between software engineer and the sweeper and the king. Right? Then we do that. The only way we can develop is improve the middle class. Though people say, but in India it is not. India it is garibhi hatao. Rat do hata dete. Next year, I mean next election we will hatao. This election, let us improve garibhi. Right? So if you look at that, one of the things that is happening is he is the culprit. We are not getting 1 crore. We are still. I never deviate from 15 lakhs. 15 lakhs is near to 10 lakhs rather than 1 crore. That 1 crore guy who is changing everybody is a deviation. Everywhere deviations are there. Somebody always who scores 100%. Actually, I am worried that he should not have been put in this class. Right? Anybody who always scores 5, he should not be put in this class. But Indian system is all are equal. Some are differently equal. All are equal. You should sit. The faculty will come and write on board. You should read. I am not understanding how you learn. I am not understanding your capability to learn. How much time it takes for you to learn. How I should teach so that you can learn. Nothing is known. Everybody knows. In fact, we are doing one project as a part of our social good initiative. It is called Teacher Initiative. Our idea is, can we teach language to the students? 400 words are there in the language book. Can we make sure that the first time the student learns the language, all the 400 words, he can read, he can write, right? And he can pronounce that. And when he listens, he knows what it means. Now the question is, if you can teach that in 6 months, what the kid will do for next 6 months? If these factories like Narayana, Chaitanya, Kota, he will repeat. Right? If you are allowing it to me, go and play. That is what we should do. Right? But don't play cricket. Because cricket is not a national game. Hockey is not a national game. Right? But we are not defining what is our national game. We have defined everything, but there is no national game. So when there is no national game, at least I will take kabaddi as the national game, wrestling as the national game. Because you go anywhere, there is kabaddi, there is wrestling. I have to see a culture, a state or a city where wrestling is not. Muslim or Hindu doesn't matter. Christian I have not seen much, but Muslim and Hindu are gone to places just for this. Wrestling is there, but wrestling, no, my son should not go wrestling. Okay, allow your daughter to, no, she will become Ganga. She will not. Both of them should not do, you will not do, how it will improve? It is not. Actually, we should be going towards that. How exactly we can make them common? What is the outlier? How do we treat the outlier? What are the life skills that are to be taught to the students? All of you are welcome to participate in that project, right? Anything that you bring in. For example, now we lack Tamil people who can read, write, do all those things. I can speak Tamil, some broken Tamil, but that is not how the child has to be taught. Right? We need Telugu people. Right? We need Assamese, we need Odians. Right? We need Kashmiris, we need Marwaris. Right? Who really want to teach a child. What we need, we want the sound to be taken, we want the handwriting to be taken and say this is okay, this is not okay. Feed the engine, train the model. Next time when the child comes, it says that which particular stroke is not okay, which particular vocal is not okay when he speaks. Right? Once the system is already there, it is called Google Bolo. But you put the hand on word, it tells you word, but it will not check you whether you have spoken it correctly or not. Right? This, anybody can participate. And Duolingo, Google are not interested in Kannada, Sanskrit. Probably they are interested in Hindi because everybody is learning this national language. We don't know why and how. Right? So there is nothing written in Constitution. It says English or Hindi can be used as constitutional communication languages, not as a national language. Official languages 15 are there, but communication languages only 2. English. You are speaking some broken English, it's okay. Why do I need to speak broken Hindi also? Right? So it is not. So, but that doesn't mean that we should not be making the learning happy. Making learning happier for the children is one task of AI we are taken as our contribution. We are all welcome. you can participate, you can do that. And no company says you should not do that. Nobody says you are not done the work. That's where we are telling healthcare people, go do the right work, make it people. And that is your contribution in AI. And that requires speech analysis, that requires text analysis, that requires image processing. Right? Lot of things. You name it, we have the technology. Similarly, commercial projects are there, you can work on it. But the idea is work on some, social good project. Coming back to deviation. Deviation is anything that is not matching with the current pattern of the group. Current pattern of the group is average is 30, right? Standard deviation is 5. So it means that anything that is not within plus or minus 3 standard deviations, 30 plus 50, 30 minus 50. Anything less than 50, anything more than 45 are likely to be outliers. Are they bad? Not necessarily bad. Do you think Mukesh Ambani is bad? It's not. Right? The Bill Gates is not wrong. It's not bad. We have to treat them differently. The best thing is tax them more. Right? So, Indian tax system is gigantic, right? Nobody understands what it is. That's the difficult thing that we have. Right? But otherwise, in fact, I don't know how many of you know, we are paying 15% tax now. 51% of tax. When whatever we get the money, we are paying 51% back. We are actually gaining 49%. 33% for our income tax, 18% for GST. Totally, it's about 51%. But still, government has deficit. That's in fact I never understood, because they say politics is easy. I always politics is thuggery. Just thugs. Just do this, do this, do this. There is no accountability. That's the biggest problem. But I am accountable. If my insurance, income tax is not paid by tomorrow, gone case. Right? So that's a big problem. Right? So that's a deviation. So in fact, look at China. 90% of men are in tax bracket. Nobody complains in China. Right? As long as you don't go against government, they will not do anything. But in India, you cannot just go against government. You cannot talk against anybody. Everybody has their problem. Arundhati Rai, Sidramaya, then one of the MPs here, his name is a young lad. Surya, right? Cutting across the party, everybody has followers. You speak against them, they will come and beat you. Because that education is not being given. That ability to discern what is right, what is wrong, that is makes sense. Can he have his opinion? No, you cannot have opinion. When Surya speaks, listen. They think we are chickens. Right? When boss is there, go and sit inside them. We never do. Because we have been taught when somebody says that, find a way, go behind him and hit him. Don't do anything in the front, because everybody is strong from the front. Only in the back they are weak. Right? Always stab them. That's why they call backstabbers, right? Nobody wants backstabbers. We are all backstabbers. We have been taught never fight from front. When you fight from front, you are idiot. That's what Mowgli has been told. When he wants to fight Shera, then Baloo Khan calls him and says, you have to fight like humans. Then he brings Shera to Sher Khan, to the fire, and makes him jump. That's wrong, right? You ask Pita people, they will say, no, this is very much wrong. It's not fair. How a tiger, I should fight with tiger fairly? No, it should be unfair tactic. That's the only way. There can be no fairness. So any politician, the moment he becomes politician, he is a tiger. Why should I talk to him fairly? Right? So it is not. They are deviations. The people who are likely to be, in fact, for me, anybody comes in car should be taxed high. Irrespective it is me or anybody else. For that, you have to provide good transport, public transport. If the good public transport is there, when I was in London, it was like everybody uses tube. Why should I go with cab? Right? It's very costly. It's not just costly. Actually, it is ego which is driving. If you don't go in car, cab, the ego is the biggest problem. It is not need. So we should not stroke the egos. We should recognize when we are learning AI. Am I ego driven?
or I'm a humor driven. If you are humor driven, we laugh at ourselves. Right? Very easy. I know I'm not good. Right? I know my language is rustic because all I do is think in Kannada, translate it in English, and speak. Still, you can understand, right? You can understand. You are not complaining. You are speaking in Kannada. Actually, if you rip open my brain, it is in Kannada, not in English. Right? It doesn't matter. So one of the things that we would like to look at is deviation detection. Where is it important? It's important everywhere. It's called as black swan phenomenon.
Black
Swan. So black swan is basically all swans are white, right?
Yes.
But Australian swans are black. Now you know swan can be black or white. You don't comment. That point of knowledge has gone into your database. When you saw that in Australia, the swans are black in Australia. And when you combine these two swans, biologists group them and call it as subphylum, right? So that subphylum, yes, it can be black or grey or black or brown or white in color. Now the idea of all swans are white, right? The Sanskrit, because Indians knew only white swans. They didn't know black. Now can I go and change Vedas? No, I should not. I should accept and say, yeah, that time they didn't see anything. I cannot condemn they were wrong. No, all Vedas are wrong. They said swans are white and they are not white. Veda is wrong. That is bad. Okay, that time it was like that. Now I have changed. Right? It is, in fact, my teacher used to say, learn Sanskrit and speak. When your husband and wife are fighting, also people will not recognize whether they are telling mantra or they are fighting. Right? Sanskrit is a beautiful language. When you speak, nobody can understand what you are speaking. Right? They feel that what these guys all the time they are praying God. Actually, they are, hitting each other dogs and cats. But in Sanskrit. Right? It's good. So we are looking at such kind of deviations. How many couple you can see can speak in Sanskrit? Don't go to Mathur and say everybody speaks in Sanskrit. In Bangalore, as in two and three people, three couples who speak in Sanskrit, but I speak to them in Kannada. Because we do not want to be completely deviant. Right? So deviation is the most important one when it comes to IoT vendor. Right? Can you predict the change in the pattern? It's called as concept drift. Temperature is supposed to be at 45, right? And it should be less than 49. Now it is 46, right? It is started. Oh, you feel, oh, it is between 45 and 49, it is 46, it's good. No, it is not good. It was supposed to be 45. It has moved to 46. There is a deviation. That deviation is what we have to detect. Right? In fact, I always suggest people, do you know your cardiac CT? Can you give me your cardiac CT? Can you give me your angio CT? Right? Can you give me your cholesterol thing? Can you give me your kidney profile? Can you tell me what is your VO2 max? They say I'm healthy. You are not healthy. These are, at that time you may be healthy. Now the science clearly says these are the 5 metrics. If you can show me, I know you are healthy. Otherwise, you have to change your lifestyle, you have to change everything. And that AI does better. That's why when people go with smartwatch and all, I say, what are you doing? Smartwatch. No, it makes your blood pressure more. Actually, the better thing will be take a CT scan of your angiogram of the carotid artery, where it is likely to be stroke detector, right? And your heart, which will be your heart attack and things like that, and then your kidney profile, right? Then your insulin, not sugar. Currently they are measuring sugar. You just take your insulin, right, and test your eye. If these 5 are there, we know you are very, very healthy. If they are within limit. If not, you don't need a Fitbit and all those things. That's a very good business. I like it very much, right? 5,000 rupee watch and connect to the cloud. Give all your things, and he will come and say, I saw in Fitbit your blood pressure is high. You have to take this tablet. This is 500 rupees per tablet. Right? That is not needed. A healthy lifestyle requires a totally different. Ayurveda says differently, but do we believe it? Not necessary. Right? Whatever the changes that are likely to happen, adapt to that. So deviation detection is one way to check what changes happen. What is deviation? For example, you try to take the satellite images and see new constructions happen. How do we detect China is amassing its troops near border? One is human intelligence, where we'll be there, we'll look all those things. The second will be satellite images, open source intelligence. Right? So what was there, what is coming and what is moved is deviation detection. Right? And there are plenty of applications of deviation detection. If you know these algorithms, enough. But the only thing is when to hit with a hammer, when to clip with a clip. Right? You should know how to remove. Don't try to remove the nail with hammer. The structure will break. Right? You need a clip to pull it out. Right? And don't use a small kind of clip and other things to nail the hammer. It needs a hammer. Right? You cannot nail it with clip. Right? It is for pulling it, not for. That's why most of the time the claw and the hammer will be given together. Just to tell people you should know how to use which when. Right? I have seen people hitting the claw also. Right? When I ask why, it needs light pressure. But this side also you can give light pressure. Why are you using the claw side? You cannot explain. So that's why deviation is very, very important. Right? Just master these 6 algorithms. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 2 plus 2 plus 6. Enough. Most of the AI can be covered. Right? Does it stop you from looking at any new algorithm coming out of a young kid having a PhD from Stanford? No. That will be 5% improvement to your knowledge. How he is doing? He is doing the same thing. He is solving the same problem. But his algorithm is little bit different. How do you implement that with linear algebra is one of the things which we are interested. Okay, we'll break for Kamal. You have to tell me when to stop, when to break. Yeah, we'll break that. Very fun.
11:30 they are all ready. In between 11:15 to 11:45 they are ready.
That's some tea and come. Yeah. It's 5 minutes to go and 5 minutes to come. Is anybody there online?
One came but he left. He has fever.
Okay. Let them get well soon.
Come on.
You need this contact with any module or any certain contact.
Okay. Sure. You are in
Instead of suppose coming. Sir, we'll on the camera and put it onwards board. Like they can understand what is actually happening, what we are writing on board. We can do that. Like this camera.
We can do, but who is online? Oh, yeah, we
Recording
can.
sessions.
Just put it here. Just
Like if they want recording sessions, that's why.
why were you waiting then?
I just got the idea from sir.
Okay. Okay. So now we have understood AI carries only about 4 different ways, or how exactly it looks like. Don't focus only on learning, right? The learning is only a beginning, right? Knowledge representation, learning go together. Learning and planning go together, right? Then learning, knowledge, and reasoning go together. So all of them are interconnected. You cannot separate the knowledge from reasoning, from planning, from learning. Right? Otherwise, it becomes a dated system. Only knowledge, reasoning, that becomes expert system. That's why we say that it is a closed box. There is nothing which can go inside. It cannot expand. No out of box thinking. No learning. That's what we call as experts. So we have to listen to them. No, that's not okay. That's where you have to go for calibration of the rules. Any rule that comes, that can be calibrated. Right? The second type of system where you do planning. Right? You would like to do if somebody is purchasing sugar, can you sell in biscuits also? Right? You can package. You take 5 kgs of sugar and biscuit comes freely. I might have recovered that money by changing some price. That's a different thing. But you have seen 20 people out of 100 are likely to purchase these two together. You always bundle it. Right? That is a plan, right? It's a plan, it's a pattern, it's a plan, what I have to sell, how I have to sell, and things like that. So that's another thing that we are looking at. Then you get some knowledge and you should know how to apply it. Right? In fact, we are applying it for system itself. Right? Any autonomous system should know where something is wrong. What is wrong with me? Otherwise, it is not autonomous. Right? That's why we say that when we talk to the AI or when we build AI, we are also learning how we are. We always felt we are superior, we are good and all those things, but there is no norm which tells me that I'm a self-learner. 90% of the human species are not self-learners. Because learner is a learned skill. It is not, it's an acquired skill. It is not a born skill. You're not born with learning skill. Some of us, we are, ours to accountancy and others because we always felt accountancy is just adding and subtraction. Nothing else is there. But actually now I know it is financial engineering. If you want to show profit or loss, accounting is the only way. Right? You can show company is fully loss, but the owner goes with the Audi car. Daily is coming in Audi car, but the company is under loss. Right? So, it's a multi-million-dollar company. 10,000 people have been very profitable. 10,000 people have been terminated. Right? It can be Byju's, it can be an academy and things like that. Edutech is a good field, but they are not understood Indian psyche, right? We don't want to listen to Shah Rukh Khan telling you send your child to Byju's and forget, I will be there. No, I know what Shah Rukh Khan can do. I do not want my child to be under Shah Rukh Khan. Right? I'm okay, happy to be under me because I know how to squeeze and get the things done, but not Shah Rukh.
What was the logic behind Shah Rukh Khan coming in?
People always associate themselves. If they feel it is authority. Can you define? You go to a hospital. If somebody comes with white coat, will you ask, are you a doctor? In fact, I ask so many times when I ask this question, they will look at me as I'm mad. I'm insane. Boss, I don't know your hospital. Right? So you have to tell me who is the doctor, who is the compounder, who is the madman, who is coming in white coat. So you cannot take all of them, but that system, such kind of systems, they don't like it. because most of the times when AI systems, such kind of systems are there, immediately it escalates the deviation. He was not supposed to be here, he is here. Right? So these problems are always there. That's why even doctors are against AI. Where is the identity of doctors after 20 years when I can solve all the problems? We want best of the best of the best doctors to look after AI. Mediocre doctors with 35%, because at the end of the day, if he is qualified from Rajiv Gandhi Health University, even if he scored 35 marks or 50 is compulsory, minimum 50, after 10 years he passes, still he is called a doctor. That's a big problem, right? But that is not allowed in AI, right? Currently, we are saying that when you can allow that doctor to pass out and practice, let AI also do that. Mostly that will be rule-based ones, right? So when planning basically is such kind of things. When I would like to give something and do all those things, we'll be planning. Reasoning is reasoning under certainty and uncertainty. When you say all men are mortal, it means that it is universal truth, right? Some men are mortal. JPS is a man. What kind of reasoning you apply there? Do you know whether he is mortal or not mortal? No. Normally, we try to add uncertainty. JBS might be mortal. JBS might be mortal. He is not immortal. JBS might be mortal. With what certainty? 90% certainty. Right? Such kind of things is a good reasoning mechanism. If you see any of the doctor, they will not simply judge. Now they are doing it. They say that you go for fever. He say, okay, if you go to Wockart or a 5-star hospital, they say first your whole body has to be checked. Right? 25,000 rupees for that. If you go to neighborhood doctor, he will charge 100 rupees and give some tablet and will be cured. Because you cannot go there. He is an ordinary doctor. Right? Just MBBS. Passed in a government college. Right. Now actually it is the other way around. If you have passed in government college, at least I can trust something, because somebody has grilled you like there is no teaching, nothing. Somebody comes and examines you, at least you have passed, you know something. If it is a private college, I don't know, you might have purchased degree also. Right. I heard that one medical degree is 4 crore rupees. I can get a medical degree. How do I differentiate whether this guy knows or not? And they'll ask me, give me evidence. If I give evidence, will they solve the problem? No, they will put me behind bars. He is a whistleblower. He was not supposed to be there in the system. Right? When we try to do that, AI is trying to fix such kind of practice. Right? And what is the certainty with which this guy can be denied? That is uncertainty based reasoning. How do I add uncertainty in anything I say? When will you carry umbrella? When it rains, will you carry umbrella? Or when you feel it rains, you will carry umbrella? In both cases, we have umbrella, right? But if you feel it will rain tomorrow, but it is not raining, now it is not raining, tomorrow it will rain, or maybe in another half an hour it will rain, now we will go out, then you can remember, you can just get how many times you did that. You not lose reason. Right? It's brave enough. Nothing will happen. Rain will not come. What you made? You converted any uncertainty into certainty. Humans always think in terms of certainty. It is black and white. Actually, it is not. It is grey. Whether it will be rain or not in 1 hour, I don't know. Right? If you tell me yes or no. You cannot be sitting on. No, I will be sitting on fence. It is up to you to seal it or floor it. You take the floor. If the probability is 0.6, say no, it will not rain. It's your choice. Probability is 0.6, it's rain. Your choice. And that reasoning we are not using. AI is a method. Right? It's not the only method. It's one of the methods which exposes that kind of vulnerability in us. We are not good in thinking. We are not ready to accept it. Right? We don't question our knowledge. Do I know this? Don't ask me. I attended the session, done. I know. No. Only when you are done, when you are demonstrated, when you can teach, I know you can do. Otherwise, it is not. Right? So anything you have to, now you should start questioning. That's why normally we say that you attend AI, you will become naked. Right? It exposes everything. All our weakness, all our things will be exposed. It is up to us to accept or to defend. When we rationalize, yeah, that is the way I am. Good. Oh, is this the way? Now I should start thinking, is it correct or not? We become more rational. And we become, kind of what we don't know is exposed. At least I can learn that. Right? AI does that. Specifically, knowledge engineering. Feature engineering. How will you do feature engineering? In machine learning, you should do feature engineering, right? How do you do that? It should be based on knowledge. My feature engineering is limited to something which my database contains. Database says these are the 10 things you should do because that is what is being taught and it is being there in pandas. Do it. Right? Generally, I will run this quiz with everyone. What exactly is this value? So you can differentiate this. This becomes 1 by sin x. Right? Then you will differentiate this with the chain rule. This becomes cos x. And this will be cot x. How many of you agree with this? Right? This is wrong. Because in the differentiation it says a function can be differentiated only if it is continuous. At any point its value should be observed. If there is no value, how can you differentiate? Right? You will move from point A to point B. All of a sudden you disappear here, you appear there. How do I know what is the distance you traveled? They say, I don't care. Point A, point B distance. Then I'm asking how much distance you traveled. When you are teleported from here to there, how much distance you traveled? Zero. It does not exist. It is not a differentiable function. Any function which is not differentiable, in the first place we are trying to differentiate. So what is log? What is sin x? Sin x value can vary between 0 and 1. Sin 0 and sin 90.
Yes.
It can vary between 0 and 1. What is log 1? 0. What is log 0? Indeterminate. We don't know what is log 0. Right? Now, this value can be between 0 and 1. This value can be between infinity and 0. How can you differentiate this? Right? Why we have done this? Because that is how we have been taught. I know this because one of the factory where my daughter is going, they do this. She is very fast. When I ask this, they are asking, hey, you will slow down. You will slow down. You have to slow down. You have to think. Because it is not coming out of your understanding. It is coming out of your knowledge base. It is popping up immediately. She has been given 1 minute. You have to solve 5 problems. The easiest way, do it. Right? Now, this problem is wrong. This does not exist. It is something like
If you take only sin x, it's a continuous
yes.
function.
If you take log x as a continuous function,
Log of sin x becomes a discontinuous.
it is not there. So what we are trying to expose, we have to be slow. We have to think. Only the patterns which I know I can apply immediately. This was a pattern which I never tested. Only the template I tested. Log d by dx of f of x of f of g of x I have tested. Only this I have tested. I have not replaced f and g with log and sin and tested whether it exists or not. This template has been taught. And we try to apply it. And that is good, that is bad. Especially if you are AI, that is very bad. If you are in a position where your efficiency is counted, it's very good. Right? So we are trying to move towards AI. We have to be slow. Enjoy AI. Right? With exposures, template-based learning is not good. Right? Understanding-based learning is very good. And normally, reasoning is very, very important here. The knowledge and reason go together. So once we know these are the 4 things, they actually this entire AI. You can solve any problem if you know this. Right? We will get into depth and we try to do it from scratch and all those things. Right? Couple of them. We will do clustering, we will do PCA, we will do regression, we will do classification, we will do association. Deviation we don't do. Right? Though it can be done statistically, it can be done with other methods, we will not do. Right? Probably in machine learning, advanced machine learning or deep learning, you will do that. When you do autoencoders and others, you will do deviation detection and all. Right, but for the time being, let us look at these 5. We will implement all these 5 using linear algebra. Yeah. So now, if you know this, what exactly is linear algebra? Why we should do this? That's the fundamental question normally people will ask. So you have to do linear algebra for 3 reasons. The first reason, the linear algebra. First reason is pre-processing. First reason for learning linear algebra is data pre-processing. You should know how to use linear algebra for pre-processing. It can be image blurring, it can be enhancement of the image, it can be adding additional words, it is the augmentation of the words, it is changing the size of the image, it is changing XYZ, anything. Pre-processing is one reason why we have to learn linear algebra. The second one is algorithms. Most of the algorithms are implemented as linear algebra, right? Except some like tree algorithms, though they can be implemented, right? There is nothing wrong with that. We can implement tree algorithm also. We will not get into that, right? So algorithms are implemented in linear algebra, right? The third reason why we should go for linear algebra is if you want to go for your user-defined functions, any UDF, right? If you want to develop, now let us say that you will go somewhere, you will go to a company and you will tell, I'm an AI engineer, I would like to do analysis of your data, I would like to build a AI system for you. That guy is against you and he dumps some data to you. He says, tell me what you can do. You will do something which is useful. Let us say you will find the association, but he is curious to know how you did it. I will not tell you. There is a function, you put the data, it will speak. You only ask, right? You only said you don't give any domain knowledge, right? And come out with this and all. Now I got half of your domain knowledge, I don't need it. In fact, I don't need domain experts. Now, maybe 20 years back, I would have needed domain expert to understand and things like that. Now we say that domain expertise is not needed. Right? 3 months domain expert, I will get the domain inside and out. Right? How we do it? Normally we try to use those 5 algorithms and try to reconstruct the domain. How it looks like. Right? So now if you are really domain expert, you tell why this model is wrong, why it is doing better than. Otherwise, it is CEO's choice. You can retain him or you can retain this model. So if you want to do, right, I'm least bothered about the domain experts now. In any field, medicine, education, policing, domain experts you know, right? Rules, right? And reasoning. No learning, no planning. They don't plan where to apply this and how. They don't learn what is new. Only expert knowledge, no calibration, no discovery of new rules, right? No nothing, only those two. That is the dangerous thing. Some people are there, we cannot always generalize all domain experts are bad. 20% of people are always good, right? And that is what we are looking at. Can you control AI? Give to those people, right? They will make AI better AI. Right? Give it to 80% of people, they will make sure that how to fail AI. Right? They will make sure that you cannot enter them. Right? We are seeing that because wherever we go, we are giving only 2 things. I will make sure your machines will last longer. The mean time between failure will be increased. Right? We will make sure the rejection from your work is reduced. We will make sure your sales will improve. Now it's a big threat to everybody's existence. If AI can do, why you are needed? That's the question we are also asking. When AI can do all these things, why you are needed? So many people. Why you cannot compete with Korea? Why you cannot compete with China? Why you cannot compete with Japan? Because you do not want to do that. We cannot change. AI cannot change. If you want to change, you can change. AI can deliver all those things. These are the 5 algorithms which we are interested in. All those will become your UTFs. Right? Not necessary that you should do this. For me, most important thing why you should learn linear algebra is pre-processing. Not even algorithms. Algorithms is a part of deconstructing a library and redoing it, we will do. In real life, when you use linear algebra is an image is given to you. The image is like this. But actually you need an image which is like this. What will you do? What are the possibilities? This is the image. The image is given to you. Increase the pixels. Basically use a pad here. Add the padding. So much of padding will be done. Now I want it to be like this. What will you do? Translation. Right? You try to translate the image once it is padded. Right? Now I would like to recreate the data. I want the data to be something like this. This is called as data augmentation in image engineering. How will you do this? Rotation. Right? All these operations will be done by linear algebra. You can call a function, rotate by 90 degrees, do blah 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 and all those things. Internally what you are trying to do is, instead of this pixel being lighted, this pixel will be given color. You rotate it. Actually, only thing you are not doing is, you are not catching hold of the video memory, and at every video address you are not putting the color. Other than that, rest of the things you will do here. Instead of C, you are trying to do it in Python level. Otherwise, this is pre-processing. Right? So this is data augmentation. Right? All of this can be done with linear algebra. And you should know certain properties of the matrix. When it says that the shape or the dimension is not matching, you should know immediately the problem is the pre-processing. The problem is the data structure. Right? Most of the queries I get about the errors they get in machine learning is not with the machine learning, is with the data. Your input data is not matching, the algorithm is expecting. There is no match between the expectation of the algorithm and actual data that is being given. You have to look at the data and do this. Whether you do it in Python, whether you do it somewhere else, that's a different thing. So we are trying to understand how exactly to do all these things. Right? So once this has been done, we would like to look at how we can do matrix processing or vector processing. It's also called as matrix operations. We would like to understand matrix operations. Once the matrix operations are done, we would like to get stats out of this. What are the statistics that I can get out of my matrix? All said and done, all linear algebra is based on, all AI is based on only matrix. Anything else is not valid. Multiple tables, no SQL, graph algorithm, blah blah blah, all those things are to be first converted to matrix, right? Then it has to be operated. It is like one of the guy who got the Nobel Prize for curing pneumonia, right? Basically, he used to convert all the disease into pneumonia and cure it. I don't remember his name, but he got the Nobel Prize. Right? Anything, first convert it into matrix, operate on matrix. Right? So that will be a pre-process. How do you get that? Next is algorithms. We will look at clustering algorithms like k-means. Right? We look at linear regression. We look at logistic regression. Right? We look at singular value decomposition. We look at neural networks. Right? Both for regression and classification, we will look at it. There are different types of neural networks.
So what is MLR?
Multilinear regression. So MLR is multilinear regression. So now once we understand these two, we would like to write our MySQL. Right, here we try to split it, right, we try to fit it, we try to predict it. Once we can put our user defined function into one of these areas, the same everywhere, right? Maybe it is written in Chinese, I have to first translate it into English and read it, right? So this exactly is the coverage of the linear algebra module, what we are trying to do, right? At any point you feel it's not going through, let us go slowly or fast depending on how is the reception. Depending on that, we will see. Yeah.
Question. How strong is the statement that anything is solved in AI eventually convert into matrix and solving those matrices and then deriving the information? Is that a 80% strong?
100%.
100% strong.
Actually, I'm happy to learn if I am wrong.
Understand.
No, not you. No, you can have it. You should contend. There's nothing wrong in your ask. Right? I'm telling, I don't know so far. I still feel I'm in practice after 22 years. I don't know, because if you rip open TensorFlow, it is still matrix there inside. Right? Instead of a two-dimensional matrix, it will have multi-dimensional matrix. A multi-dimensional matrix is nothing but a tensor. Right? A two-dimensional one, a unidimensional one is called as a vector. A two-dimensional one is a matrix. A three-dimensional one is a tensor. So that's why it is called TensorFlow. But if TensorFlow can work with two tensors, I'm interested to know how Google does that. Nobody, so far I have not seen this. Right? I have seen this in database. I can have multiple tables. I can connect, do all those things. I have seen all of this. But at the end of the day, if you look at Tableau, if you look at ClickSense, or if you look at Power BI and other things, what they do is all of that will be put into this format, and they do. They operate on this, a single table, a spreadsheet, they will work. Because this is a costly operation if you want to do this. This is a simpler operation for which mathematicians are working, computer scientists are working, AI people are working. They take linear algebra as the base. If you look at Mahout, Mahout was one of the open source big data machine learning algorithms which was there some 5 years back. Now it has been converted to a matrix library called Samsara. Everything is written is a matrix algebra, linear algebra, nothing more than that. If somebody says something differently, let's learn from him. Nothing wrong with that. But they should not say you don't understand. It means that in the first place he has not understood. That's why he cannot explain. Like Einstein said, if you cannot explain it to your grandmother, you don't know. Period. Right? That's why I could not forget about my grandmother. I could not explain to my mother also. So it means I don't know. Right? Let's not say we are blah blah blah. But if somebody says it is wrong, for me, because my knowledge base is limited, right? I have not seen anybody doing. I cannot think how to do that. My reasoning says it is impossible. But we are open. If somebody says no, I will do it differently, let us understand. Right? Possibly what he may be doing is he is writing multiple statements for every variable. Right? He may be doing it in pre-von Neumann era. Right? The lady Ada, when she made that machine, one by one mechanical computer, maybe they may be doing it. But we don't compete with them. Right? Our competition is only with Google. Can I better Google? It's impossible. Let me at least deconstruct and understand how TensorFlow has been written, how scikit-learn has been written. Right? That is the whole motive behind algorithms and this. Right? So these are the three areas where we focus more on. Right? But before that, we should understand some basics. Right? How to operate and things like that. I'd like to start with how do you write programs, right? In fact, you know the difference between coding and a program. You should be at least you should be aware. I want you to become programmers than coders, right? So the way we would like to see the programs. Oh, you're not taken this? Okay, okay, good, 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 good. So you should guide me whenever we are missing something, we are not, tell me we are not. Okay. So I would like to write a program, right? I would like to write a code body, right? First is I would like to write a code body. Then I would like to test this code body. These two are essential if you are doing programming, right? You must write the body of the function, whatever it is, right? Then you have to call this using test. What are the test cases you will do, right? Passes, fail, boundary crosses. So boundary cases or boundary classes or something like just with some minor modification or uncertain what to do. Those boundary cases is what we have to look at. In fact, if we are from engineering, mechanical engineering, we have what is called as a Reynolds number. Reynolds number basically is for flow. When the Reynolds number is less than, it's a dimensionless number. If it is less than 2000, it is called laminar flow, smooth flow. If it is more than 2000, it's a turbulent flow. At 1989, 1999, is it turbulent or laminar? If you ask software, it says laminar. If it is 2001, turbulent. What is the difference between 1999 and 2001? That is a boundary case. How do you handle the boundary case? Right? 1800 absolutely laminar. 2500 absolutely turbulent. But in between it is not. That is a boundary case. We may not start with boundary cases, but we should be able to get all the boundary cases. Right? For example, when you write a quadratic equation, right? X is equal to minus b plus or minus root of b square minus 4ac divided by 4, 2a, big formula is there. And none of them have been taught when root of b square minus 4ac is negative, what is the solution? Because students could just code it. Why are you asking questions? If you are not asking questions, for me you are not learning. If you are not discussing, you are not learning. Go as much as possible. Go crazy when you are here. You cannot do that when you are in job. But when you are learning, go crazy. Get all dumbest questions that are possible. Right? That's how we would like to get our knowledge. Because probably you feel it is dumbest. I may feel it is actually why I never thought like that. It's always there, right? So if you look at it, this is very much necessary for us to do any programming. So why this is needed? Possibly because this tests all validate, right, and verify. So I think Malik knows validation and verification is a big topic in most of the semiconductor industry, everywhere. But more so. In fact, I saw one company coming out in Surat and Bangalore who are mostly assembly, testing and verification. Just they want to start with that. Subsequently, they would like to move to bigger roles. But validation and verification is essential. Where we do that, we don't do that in test. It should be handled in the body. If you have seen any of the errors coming in scikit-learn and other things, it says that in some line 49, we have written only 4 lines, but it says in line 49 in this program, this error is there. It validates that, it captures that, and it gives you this is the error, right? It is necessary, we should follow this. Though for the time being, I will not use this, but 1 or 2 we will try to see, because I will pass an empty matrix, and I will ask find the inverse of this matrix. Immediately it should test there are no elements. You should not run d by dx of log of sin x immediately. Right? First we should validate. Right? Is it possible? Are there anything? If it is not possible, a good verification. Right? Verification and report should be given. So that is essential. That's how we would like to write this. Okay? Now once this has been done, let us look at the first thing before we put our hands on, right? What is a scalar?
Single variable.
Sorry? Single variable is a scalar, not necessarily. You can have a vector as a variable, isn't it? A list is a variable.
Yeah, a single value can be scalar.
Single value. Our physics definition only.
It's just one very number. It
Yes.
does not have anything else.
Ah.
No magnitude, no direction.
It has only magnitude, but there is no direction. 100 rupee. Does it has any direction? Sorry? Vector will have the direction. I am asking about 100 rupee. Is it vector or scalar? 100 rupee counterfeit note. Vector or scalar? That's how we try to move from ordinary things. In fact, for me, if you cannot find that in real life, don't try to search in books. Don't try to search in code. A currency note, if I don't attach whether it is genuine or not, is a vector. If I attach, it is a vector. If I don't attach, it is a scalar. How do you say a note is counterfeit or genuine? Unless it is a vector. Right? Anything which doesn't require direction or the interpretation or the context is a scalar. Right? Anything which requires context, anything which requires interpretation, anything which requires direction is a vector. Right? So we will have scalars and vectors, but start with the scalars. Right? What can be done with scalars? Certain things can be done with scalars, right? Scalars can be stored. Can you store the scalars? Right? You can store the scalars as variables. They can be stored as constants. Right? Can you do math operations?
Yeah.
Math ops. Basically, plus, minus, multiplication, division, and modulo operation, power operation. These operations can be done. Right? So we have the scalars can be stored. We can do math operations as scalars. Right? Now let's look at very specific operations and using the body and testing kind of framework. Let us try to see what exactly we would like to store. Now I would like to store this, right? And I would like to have right insert, create, right? Insert or create is one operation I should do. Right? Then I should have another operation, right? Possibly validate. Right? The next, let us call them as functions. The first function will be add function. The second function is subtract function. The third function is multiply function. The fourth function is division function. Fifth function is modulus function. Sixth function is power function. I would like to write all of this, right? All of this for my scalar. How my scalar works, what are the methods that I should use, right? I should validate, can I do a plus a, right? If I can do a plus a, unless a is a variable, I cannot do that. I must validate, right? I should not directly get into that, right? Similarly, I must have these as the methods, right? Now if you write this, in fact for me, always you should write it on paper first. When somebody is not writing on paper, directly getting into code, I start scratching my head because already they are going down the drain route. You should never, things that are not working on paper are unlikely to work in code. First write it on paper, right? I'm also happy if you use pencil, eraser, right? And some kind of mender so that you work only with pencil and paper, right? Not even pen. Yeah, okay, not that you should not use, you can, right? If possible, multicolor pens. Normally, I carry about 4-5 color pens so that when I want to take notes, we'll do it like that. So these are the methods we would like to add with our. So we will not go with the classical class method. We will go with functional methods only. We will write functions and we will try to go with that. Right? The first thing that we would like to do are global variables. All insert and other things will happen with global variables. This is very much necessary. Normally, the way to try to write these global variables is to store it in a package. All the constants and things like that, put it in a package, call that package. We will not do that here, right? We will just see how we do that, how we write the program. If you want to do that, I assume in Python you have done all those things. We will not do it here, right? Otherwise, again, we will be going back to Python. Right? Whether you do it in Python, Julia, C, doesn't matter. Python is only a medium. That is not the end. Okay. So global variables are predefined. Insert, right? When you insert it, you would like to do the global variables, right? Now, before calling any of these operations, you should validate the data, right? You should not just jump, okay, 1 plus 2, 3. No, string 1 plus string 2 is not 3, it is 1, 2. Right? How do we do that? So validation is a method. So validate is another method. Right? Now let's assume for all practical purposes, we would like to look at only integers and floats. We'll go with only integers and floats. Right? So I would like to check whether it's an integer or a float. Right? Subsequently, I can go for convert a given text into integer. Right? Probably if you have used Python, text is not yet started. There is what is called as a count vectorizer. Right? You can tokenize a given sentence into words and count how many words are there in a given text. Right? That is nothing but frequency counting. And you can convert that into what is called as the bag of word data structure. Bag of word data structure is nothing but your matrix. Count vector is nothing but your matrix. Word to vector is nothing but your matrix. Right? Any of them you look at it, it is nothing but linear algebra. Okay. So validate, we will validate only for the integers and floats in scalar. We will see later. Right? Next is add method. Right? What is the input for add method? Now I will go with only 2. Right? One at least minimum 2 inputs should be there for add method. Right? But you can go with arguments also, keywords. Right, but I will not go with that. That's how actually the code will be written there. Right, we are not interested in replicating everything. Just conceptually understanding how it is, what is to be done, we will go with that. Right, what you need. Right, so input will be 2 numbers. Output will be 1 number. Right, so these are the parameters. 2 input parameters should be there. 1 return value should be there. Right. Similarly, if we look at add, then subtract, right? Same, right? Multiply, same, divide. All of them I will make it as small letter, lowercase. Division, one specific thing we have to observe here. That observation is the denominator should not be 0. Right? Check for same plus check 0 denominator. This is another one I had to check. Right? Only when it is division I must check the denominator is not 0. Right? The next one is basically modulus operator. Right? Next is power operator. Right? Modulus operator returns the remainder. Right? Whatever is the remainder, all of them are similar. So they will take 2 values, they will return 1 value. So this is our plan of attack.
For modern, want to take two inputs
Which one?
for the last two functions.
No, modulus also. Now let us say 5 by 2,
Got it.
right? I would like to see that this will be 2 or 1 depending on what we are. Right? Power is also what is the number to what power it has to be raised. We will implement a for loop there. You can implement recursion, you can implement a for loop, right? You can do any of those things, doesn't matter. Yeah, this is our plan of attack. This is the expectation, this is our design, this is our plan of attack, how would like to go. Yeah, any doubts here before we get on to, yeah, no doubts. Let's
Global variable contain the insert part.
insert you can have, but normally we don't. Insert is conceptual.
No, I'm saying that memory.
Yes, insert is there. This is insert, right? So insert here.
Like in the data, when studying C or Java, it's like the global variables would be the
The
way
top.
you decline the variable and it can be passed through
Yes.
the whole the body.
So one advantage with C and others is you can pass by address also, which is not possible in Python. Right? For that we can go with keywords, but the good practice is immutable values. So global variables can be changed by anybody. That's why normally we don't use global variables. We would like to pass the objects by address, right? So that you can make changes and you can send back. So it should be intentional. It should not be accidental. So anything that is intentional, if somebody corrupts it, we assume it is intentional. He wanted to corrupt it, right? So we'll not get into that, but because that becomes more of software engineering. We would like to look into what are scalars, what are the operations that can be done on scalars. Can we do the similar kind of operations on vectors? Can we do the similar kind of operations on matrices? Once we move from scalars to vectors to matrices, we have some fundamentals. Then we will get into properties of matrices. What is meant by a transpose? What is meant by a dot product? What is meant by a cross product? Right? What is meant by inversion? How do we do inversion and things like that? Right? How do we find the determinant of a matrix and things like that? Then we will try to see how it will be implemented in NumPy, because NumPy is the basis. Yeah, NumPy or Dask is the fundamental thing which we'll use. If you are going for multi-threaded one, you will go for Dask. If we are going for a simple Windows-based small kind of thing, we will go for NumPy, right? So we'll contrast how are we doing, because we'll be adding add and all those things. NumPy simply gives a plus b, right? Then I have to go for operator overloading here, right? We will not do that, but we will try to see how we can do this, right? So this is our design, this is our plan of attack, how it has to go. Now let's get on to our coding. Okay. I will start my notebook. Okay, now I'll start with our comments. I would like to make this as session 1. So we'll have operations, scalars and scalar operations. Okay. Not able to. Let me share my screen. Is it visible if I share my screen?
It will be.
Otherwise, also it should be visible. It is connected. Now, the way we would like to do it is we would like to add call Jordan. You may not know how to do that. I'll share my screen also. Probably you can open up these desktops and they can see and they can do it in their laptop. We'll wait for Jordan to join. Oh, it is coming, but they cannot see and do that at the same time. Either they have to do it on the desktop, right?
Sir, project is not projector is not like its connection is yeah, projectors. Yes. Yeah.
Right.
Right, switch the screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's coming.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So global variables. We call this as global variables, but it is very dangerous to use global variables in Python. We will use global variables. We can insert. Now, because we'll be working with two, let us take where variable 1 is equal to 10 and variable 2 is equal to 20. We'll start with this, right? So now I can print what is the variables, right? So let's write definition get or print variables. Let's write get variables only. Get variables. It takes nothing, but it has to give me. It has to print variable 1 is equal to this and variable 2 is equal to this variable 2, right? Now I have written the body of the function. I have to write a test program for this, right? I will call get variables. This is my test program. Variables, right? Now I would like to print get variables, get varies. It will solve my problem. So it says variable 1 is equal to 10, variable 2 is equal to 20. Yeah. Now I would like to add some masala here. We would like to make it as /n, right? Then we will say, okay, now if we do this, okay, there is a gap. So it has to be this, right? Now we are printing it in the right format. So formatting function, basically get variables is access and formatting function. Yeah. Not able to see?
Your laptop will actually
Okay.
get the factory.
Oh.
It's okay. Maybe step out.
Maybe you can come this side if it's obstructing you. We have to do something for that. We have to shift this, or we have to shift this there, so that not now, not now. It's all fixed. Just take it out, yeah. Okay, now the first operation that we would like to take will be add, right? Now let's define addition of variables, right? Now I would like to define this function as add. Now I had to pass something. What I had to pass? I had to pass variable 1 and variable 2. I had to pass these two variables, right? Now I had to define, I had to create another variable 3 called as var1 plus 1 plus variable 2, and I should return this value, variable 3, right? Now I did this. My add function is available. Now let us look at test program or test driver program for add function, right? Now I would like to write this program as add, right? Now my variable 3 is equal to add var1 comma var2, right? Now print of percentage d and percentage d is percentage d, where my percentage is var1, var2, var3, right? I'm making it bit idiomatic so that I will not add this. If you are seeing this, I'm replacing this. I'm refining it a little bit more like C formatting, right? I will start with percentage d, percentage d, percentage d, and give a tuple, right? This tuple will be added here. Yeah. Now test the boundary cases. Right? Right? 10. What it says? What is the error? Error says that it is required minimum 2 variables, but only one is passed. Right? So it means that I have to validate. If I add 10 and 20, so it works fine. Right? It is 30. But now if I send only one, right, it is not. Now what I had to do? I had to go back to my add function and see that both variable 1 and variable 2 are there. If it is not there, I will set the variable value 1 to be 0, variable value 2 to be 0 if it is not there. Right? Now we will go back, we will take this, right, and I will add it here. I will not do this for everything. I will do once, then subsequently we will go ahead. Now we would like to check, right, if, right, normally we will give it here itself. We will not check that. Let's give default value. Variable 1 is equal to 0. Variable 2 is equal to 0. Right? Now we will add this. Now I will add. Right? It gives 0. Right? Now I would like to check add 10, it gives me 10. Now I would like to add 10 comma 20, right? It gives me 30. All the boundary line cases are handled now. Yeah. Okay. Now let us define subtraction. Subtraction is very simple. Def subtract, right? Where 1, where 2, right? As where 3 is equal to where 1 minus where 2, right? Return where 3. Where 3. Now let us look at test it. Testing subfunction. Subtraction. Testing subtraction function. Right? How do we test this? Now let us say where 3 is equal to subtract 20, right? Then print the difference between percentage D and percentage D is percentage D, where I give this as percentage as 20, 10 and where 3. So when I give this, the difference between 20 and 10 is 10, right? I can call this with variable 1, variable 2. Now I had to make changes where 2, because I know that it is where 1, and if I give where 2, it will be negative. Still it will be handled. Right now I would like to change this bit as where 1 comma where 2, right, and where 3, right? The difference between 10 and 20 is minus 10. Okay. You can check some boundary where it's like minus 20, minus 10. What is the value? Right? You should get it as minus 30. Also, you can handle similar kind of default values. If the value is not given, how do we get it? Right? Can you do the differentiation like that? Right? So you can do that, right? Because it is your own function. Yeah. Now let's go for multiplication, scalar multiplication. Def multiply where 1 comma where 2 is where 3 equal to where 1 where 2 and return where 3. So we'll be returning third one. So we'll write a test driver for multiplication, right? We can do this as where 3 equal to multiply where 1 and where 2, right, and print, right? I will copy this. I will say the product this and this is 200, right? Probably you can sit the other side. So it's too cold. Yeah. If we reduce it, he may not get it. Yeah. No, no problem. We can come to the other side. So let's write for division also. Division operation. So division operation, if you look at it, it takes two parameters, returns one number and checks the zero denominator, right? So now I would like to look at, let us say that I would like to write definition of division is variable 1 and variable 2, right? Then I would like to say variable 3 is equal to variable 1 divided by variable 2, right? And return variable 3, right? Now I will test it. Test div, right? So I would like to write it as where 3 is equal to div where 1 comma where 2, right? So division of percent d by is variable 3, right? So now you can see it says it is 10 divided by 20 is 0, right? Is that correct? Because it has done integer division, right? It is flooring it. 0.5 is taken as a floor, right? Now we have to add two things, convert that into float and then check one more, right? So check one more boundary case, add the boundary case here, right? I will add it as 0. Yeah, we got an error. So we have to handle these two, right? One is it is a division by 0. Another is it is integer division. So we would like to handle these two. Let us handle these two with our function. So I will call my division operation, right? Version 2, right? We will write it as I must check, right? If variable 2 is equal to 0, then what we should do, right? Print division by 0 is allowed. So division by 0 is not allowed, right? Then what will you do? Break, right? Otherwise, right, this. But there is one more. What we would like to do is all of this has to be converted into float first. How do I do that? Variable 2 into 1.0. This solves the whole problem. It returns the variable 3, right? So break else so inside the loop. Okay, we'll add it as indeterminate, right? Now let us check these two cases. What happens? I will not write it. I will use both of them. In boundary case, it is an integer. I cannot handle that, but let us see what happens, right? right? So boundary case, it says that a number is required, not string. So what we have to do is we have to just remove this, right? Of blah 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 by blah 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 is changed by the division of variable 1. So division of variable 1, huh?
It's already one.
This, or we'll close this. Okay, we'll come back and do that, right? So variable 1, then by variable 2, by variable 2 is, so I could have changed this to other value of string is, right, variable 3, right, is comma variable 3, right? Division of 10 by 20 is 0, division by 0 is not allowed. The division of 10 by 20 is indeterminate, so it is not division of variable 1, variable 2. So variable 2 will be 0 here, right? Division by 0 is not allowed. The division of 10 by 0 is indeterminate, right? And more or less this is what is happening under the hood of any library. If we use mathematical calculator, we have to use this, right? Though advanced things like Polish notation or reverse Polish notation will be used to build the calculator, this is how we would like to build a calculator, right? This function can be attached to event handler. A button is clicked, that event will be handled, and we would like to see what is happening here, right? That's why without this we should not do. First is what is the problem, what is our plan of attack, and then coding, right? Go slowly and pick up the speed later. So done, let us break for lunch. We'll come back and we'll continue. Yeah. If it is fast or slow, let me know. If it is slow, we'll speed up. If it is fast, we'll slow down. Yeah, okay. Okay. We'll connect again by 2. Our lunch and come. Let's go lunch and take some calls.